Welcome to My Prosperity. It has been a while since we had a guest on, but I just couldn't let go of the opportunity to have our special guest on today. Johannes Wolfaardt has become a good friend of mine in just a few short weeks, and his story impacts my life, and I know his story is definitely going to impact your life. Mind prosperity, the name mind prosperity comes from this idea that where your mind goes, your life follows. And Johannes Wolfaardt is a living example of coming out of very difficult circumstances and situations. And he made a big change in his life by using his mindset. Johannes, welcome today and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Albert, for allowing me to come speak on your channel.
It's great to have you. Okay, so you have a book out. And I just want to say this. I'm not going to give anything away about the ending, but I really like how this book ended. So I think it's going to like it really intrigues a person to read the next book. That's going to be very, very cool. Tell us a bit about this whole idea of struggling stains.
Well, struggling saints is all about the struggles that we go through, our mindset that goes through trauma, um, our body that goes through a trauma um, status. And this book tells a story about where I've been through all those kind of struggles and actually made it to where I am today. But struggling stains came through my wife. The name struggling stains came through my wife. My wife got the idea. I only saw the picture and she came up with the name struggling stains.
But it's not because of your wife, right?
No, it's not because of my wife that I. She encouraged me to write the book, but it's not because of my wife.
Johannes, tell me a bit. I'm going to go a little bit into the book. Um, you have it's a miracle you're alive today because you have tried to take your own life more than once. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, I think if I can go back a little bit further before I started trying to take my own life, um, I don't had people that understood me, or I thought there was no one there out there in the world that understood my pain. So I thought it was my obligation to carry my burden in my mind, all the toxic thoughts, everything that ran through my body. And eventually, I came to a point, or the decision was made that I was wanted to take my own life, and I did 36 times that I can remember. It started from the age of 10 years old when I started trying to take my own life. And a lot of people ask me, why so young? And I tell them, well, there's kids at the age of 7 years old that commit suicide. So because of depression, because of misunderstanding, because of people don't want to hear. And I think that that's what I struggled with. I thought, okay, but no one will understand my pain. So, but I met a very beautiful family that I call my family now, and they encourage me to speak about everything.
Tell me quickly, Johannes. The reasons you tried the first time when you were 10 years old, these reasons weren't just like, rebellion or a naughty child. These reasons were because you actually went through some hardships because of the household you grew up in. Can you tell us a bit about your mother, about your father, the way you were treated at that time before the age of 10? I think actually this was before the age of 6, if I remember it correctly.
Yeah, I think that if I go back where I wrote the book, Struggling Stains, at chapter one, um, my mother was an orphan. She was adopted. My father was a very abusive person and a manipulating person. He would manipulate everyone around him, and he will abuse you, not just physically, but mentally as well. And my mother was went through a very, very difficult time with her, with him. And as they found out she was pregnant again with me. he decided, no, we have to go. They have to go for an abortion, and they went. They forced. He forced my mother to go for an abortion twice, and but I'm still here. I'm still alive. But when I was born, at the age of 2 years old, my mother left our little house in a small town here in South Africa, um, and that is when everything. When she left, that's when everything became bad for me. From the age of 4 till the age of 6 years old, um, I was molested, raped, abused by my father. Uh, I was hit purple black. So I had more broken body parts of my body than I have today. And I did a lot of crazy things when I grew up. But when that happened, after a certain time, I felt like, okay, but this is the norm. This is normal for me. So I have to go through this because it's my fault. So because I was told it's my fault that my mother left, and I have to be abused every day because I'm not obedient, as he always would say. So I believed that. I believed that, and that's when I actually start believing, but this should happen. Again, if it wasn't for a teacher that saw the black purple mark uh, on my spine and my hand swelling, I would have died today. I would have not been here. I would have taken my own life at a very, very younger age than 10 years old.
Why were your hands swollen?
My father actually slashed my hands with a stick, quite a thick branch over my wrist. And so that day I was, my hands were broken. Both my hands were broken. Excuse me. And so when I came from school, and this is what happened, well, while my hands were broken, there was a strange lady in our house. I greeted, but not loud enough for my father's liking. So he struck me with a hammer and got a stick and slashed me over my hands and stepped on my hands, picked me up and choked me. So all those things happened. So I had a broken collarbone, actually a fractured collarbone, 3 ribs that were cracked, 2 hands that were broken, um, a leg that was really in bad state of pain. Some of my toes were broken at that point, and my jaw was cracked, my chest bone was cracked. So there was a lot going on just on that day, and that's when and he told me I'm not allowed to go stay at home. I have to be at school. When if he comes back at 6 o'clock the next morning, I have to be gone. So out of fear, I went to school that next morning. My body was in so much pain that a lot of people would ask me, how is it possible for a 6-year-old to go through so much pain? Fear. Fear controlled my life. Fear made me pick up my bag, even with broken hands, shattered spirit, shattered emotions. Everything was broken. I was an empty vessel just to go to school. And that was where I actually found the help that I needed.
Tell me quickly, you were taken away from your father, I believe it was the age of 6 or 7. What happened after that? I actually know what happened after that, but I want the listeners to know because you went into foster care, and in foster care you weren't treated well either. Can you elaborate a bit on that story when you were taken away from your father?
Yeah, I was taken away from my father's house at the age of 6 years old, and I had to go live with foster care. But it took a few months for me to find foster care, for the system to find me foster care. And when they placed me in the foster care, I was 7 years old. And for about a week or so, it went very well. And then the foster care parents told me that an animal is not allowed in their house. It was in winter, So I had to go sleep outside with the dog and eat out of the dog's bowl, drink out of the dog's bowl. So I was treated like an animal. And so that was when I just felt, okay, but why should this happen to me? Because I need a place where I can be loved. And so for 3 months, approximately 3 months, I was living like an animal. I didn't bathe. I went outside, did my business outside. So, yeah,
And tell me, when you said you ate with the dog, they didn't give you like human food. You actually ate with the dog
yeah, I ate dog food for 3 months.
for 3 months,
So,
and then you were taken away again.
yeah, the social worker that handled my case contacted their parents because normally they contact first and then they will come to the house. And they did. They contact the parents and they told the lady that they will come see me that afternoon. And that was quite early in the morning. It was about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And she actually came outside and untied my chains and took me to the bath and told me to clean myself because the social worker is on their way. So for about, I think about 3 baths, I was clean. But my last bath was the foster lady came and put my head on the water and, and inappropriately touched my body. And so she left again and laughed at me. So I was again threatened by her. She told me if I tell anything to the social worker that happened, there will be consequences. So, yeah, and that's when the social worker came and she saw fresh slashing marks, beating marks on my body and on my arms because I had short sleeves and short sleeve pants on, so they could see the marks on my body.
And you were then still the age of 7?
Yes, that was just before I turned. It was about 2 months before I turned 8.
Okay. And you said your first suicide attempt that you can remember was at the age of 10. What happened between the ages of 8 and 10?
Um, well, between the age of 8 and 10, I had the privilege of seeing the good, the beautiful parts of humanity, of the kindness of people, and I still saw the bitterness of people, the hatred of people. So I saw both those um, areas still for that 2 years. But my last year, I was with an elderly couple. They loved me as their own. They completely told me that they are my parents, so they gave me toys and they spoiled me. So, and I couldn't take it because I didn't know what love is. Because to understand what love is, you need to grow up in it. And I didn't understand what it is. My mind, my mental state was like everybody, I'm a punching bag to everybody. So just go for it. So I was constantly in fear. And they took me to Reddersburg and they placed me in the orphanage there. And they bought a house in the small town of Reddersburg, not far from the orphanage. And they told me that if I'm lonely, I can just come to them. But I think it was about 6 months when I was in my stay at Reddersburg. Everything just flooded again. The abuse, the sexual abuse. I was molested in Reddersburg as well by one of the older kids. So I went through that ordeal again, and that's when I decided didn't go to school that day, and I decided, you know what, there's a tower. Let me just a water tower. Let me just go climb on that water tower structure and stand there and just jump off. And that's what I did. My mind was set on dying, and so yeah, the only thing that got hurt was my pride. When I woke up there, I actually got up, and all the muscles in my body. So I had a few scratches, but nonetheless, I'm still here again.
So I'm going to um, change direction a bit because now I'm going to speak about mindset and how to deal with all of that. But there's a lot more information that we're not going to speak about right now. But I do think people are wondering about that information, and everything is in the book. I just want you to quickly to mention, again, the title of the book. Where can they get the book? And also, you're a public speaker. You're not only a writer. So if people in any way wanna make contact with you, whether it's to buy the book, whether it's to, get you to speak, where can they go, or who can they talk to?
Well, I do have an email address, struggling stains, like the book, and at gmail.com. And they can just email me there. And if they are in South Africa and they want to order a book, they can order it from me directly. They can just send me an email. Um, I'm going to hold the book here. So this is the book. The name Struggling Stains is also the email address, but it's only g@gmail.com. And and they can find me on social media. If they type in Johannes Wolfaardt, they can find me everywhere on social media. They can find me on my Facebook page. So they're welcome to connect with me. I'm not um, hiding away from people. I like to interact with people, especially when they are in South Africa and they want to book us to go speak. They can also go through Struggling Stains.
Amazing. So I know this, like your core beliefs and your core mindset is shaped between the ages of 0 and 7. I remember there's a guy called Bruce Lipton. He's a writer on the biology of the brain, and he once said that, give me a person when they're 7 years old, and I can show you their whole future unless they decide to change their mindset. Now, I want you to speak to people who went through, are going through some kind of abuse. It doesn't necessarily have to be the extent of the abuse that you went through. What is the process and what are the steps that people can follow to say, okay, I'm going to make a decision to change my mindset? And I also want to say, become fearless in a way, because I think that's the goal at the end of the day, to say, I was full of fear, but I got to a place where I can now be fearless.
I think a decision that one has to make is in your own mindset. You have to transform yourself. The reason for that is you have to make a decision, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. But because they say, no, I have to go speak to someone. Before you go speak to anyone, make the decision that you want to be free. Remember, because your toxic mindset is your prison that you are sitting in. So when you sit in your prison, you can't get free until you make the decision, I want to be free. So for those who are going through, watching this video, who's going through a similar that I've been through, I encourage you to go speak to someone. Find someone. I call it my person of peace. Go find someone to speak to interact with, to you have to walk with someone. You have to find the person that can help you break those chains, because that is the decision that you have to go make. Every decision that you make is either positive or negative to your body. Now, your mindset, if your mind is full of negative, your heart will be full of negative and you'll start speaking negative. But if it's positive, the heart will be positive and the mind will be, after the words will be positive. So go out there and find that person to go speak to. If you can't speak to someone, send me a mail, even if it's 12 o'clock at night. I will email you back. Reason for that is because I know talking about your problems helps you to get free from your burdens. And writing it down, I wrote a book. The original book is 500,000 words, but I wrote a book. And it helped me to break free from my prison. So I encourage you to speak to someone.
I just want to ask this question. I do believe speaking to somebody is very important, and you made a statement that's very profound that said, before you go speak to somebody, go make up your mind to change. Because, a lot of people go speak to somebody, but it's kind of like, somebody expects me to speak to somebody, so I'm going to go, but I still kind of have this crappy mindset about it. So that's a very profound statement. Something else I want to ask is, I know the importance of speaking to somebody, but I also know the importance of speaking to the right people, because sometimes you can speak to the wrong people. And I do believe also you have experienced maybe mentors in your life that might have, put you in the wrong direction. What are the dangers of speaking to the wrong people, and the successes, can I say, of speaking to the right people, and what are the cautions of that?
All right. The cautions of that is, let's just go there first. That I learned if someone tries to find a solution for my problem, they're not listening to my problem. So um, don't speak, just listen to those who want to help others. Do not give advice. If you see someone giving advice and they're not listening to your whole story, they're not the right person. Move away. Find someone else. I've learned this in many ways. I have a father figure that I do call my father, and I love him like a dad. If I have a problem, he doesn't find a solution. He listens to my problem. And when I'm done, I'll ask him, what can I do?
That's good.
Because you need someone who, I always tell people, stop looking for a solution. Start listening. Because listening is more important than finding a solution. Your solution will come afterwards. But if you find out that a person, and I had many people doing this, if I go speak to them, they want to find a solution. They want to find a solution today. And I told them, don't always find a solution. Just listen. But if that person don't want to listen, get up, walk away, find another one. Or write it down. I carry 5 or 6 books with me. So I write all my emotions down. I've learned to write it down. If you feel like you can't speak to anyone, write it down.
Does it ever happen that you actually find a good mentor that gives you good advice, but because of your past, you feel uncomfortable, kind of like with the closeness and the good advice, and you feel like walking away? The reason I'm asking that is I don't want to give people the idea that you should walk away from a good mentor just because you feel uncomfortable. Because I think sometimes a good mentor will sometimes make you feel uncomfortable in certain areas so that you can grow.
That is true, Albert. As I have learned, I walked with this family that I do call my family from 2008, and I'm still going strong with them, and I still love them. They didn't give up on me, but I was the problem. So again, I had to make a decision. So again, I was my own enemy, and I was my own friend as well. To say, okay, you know what, Johannes, they're not the one with the problem. I can see they're not looking for a solution. I'm actually, my past is pulling me away. So yes, it is very important to not just look at the person, because normally you do have the right person in front of you, but you're the one that is more damaged than a wine glass that got stepped on 36 times. So always look at that. Always look at the patterns. Look at the attitude towards you, because a lot of attitude speaks what goes on in here in your mindset. If it's a loving, caring person, that person really wants to help you. But there's a lot of fake persons out there as well. Just be cautious. But the trademarks you will see. If you do have a therapist or a counselor that you do go see, stick with that person. That is your comfort person. Do not go to anyone else. But if you did not find someone, go and find someone.
Okay, that's very, very good advice. And then I actually have a few more things that's going through my mind. As I know you, like myself, you're a person of faith, but you also went through times where you really struggled with God. And I'm bringing this up because I know there's like a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people out there who don't serve God, if I can say it like that, not because of unbelief, but because of hurt, and the hurt that's especially caused by believers. If you can just briefly maybe speak about that.
Well, till today, I will find people that would hurt you. Christian people. The word says, taste them by their fruit. You will see the fruit of the Spirit. Um, but it started with my father, my biological father. It started at a very young age where he said, on a Sunday, I will not beat you because it says in the Bible, you need to rest. Or he would quote, honor your father and your mother just to keep me quiet. So at a very young age, I got hurt by the word Christianity and by people who call themselves Christians. Till today, I would meet people that say they are Christians, and to be honest, I would run away to if I hear that. I say I'm a believer. That's it. But if you say I'm a Christian, but you mistreat someone else, you can't really say that, because I went through. Now recently, I went through a very difficult time, my wife and I, where someone says they are a believer, they are Christians, they follow the word of God, but they manipulate you and mistreat you. So, and again, I got hurt in that area, but it's not faulting. When I came back to my, I called him my spiritual father, but I spoke to him about it and I said, hey, why is this happening? And he said, there's a lot of people out there that think they are Christians just to smile, fake smile, and benefit from something that they should not benefit from. Now, happiness should be given to all, but even to thieves, happiness should be available. But to someone that claims he's a Christian and abuses that ability or that word and hurt others, I do apologize, but to me, I will throw them with stones.
Where did the change come for you?
When I found true believers, where I decided in 2021, um, it was about 15 July, I tried to take my own life again. That was my 36th time that I can remember. And I could hear someone's voice, and I call him my little brother. I still love him to bits, and he's still part of my family. He came to my apartment and broke down the door, and he called people to come help. So the process went, and as I was laying in bed in the hospital for 3 days, I saw gates, and it's not where you see a gate and then you see a house. No, it's gates where burning fields. So I got scared in that area, and I called out for help, and the help came. The helper came to help me. So I made a decision to say, you know, Johannes, you're killing yourself. With your decisions that you are making today, you are killing yourself. You need to be at a place where you can grow, not just spiritually, but in your growth as well as a human being, to have a positive mindset. So I came back to the farm here in Bainsvlei area, and for 3 months, actually for 3 years, I went through the process of healing, how to speak about my problem and everything. And that's when the book came. And so I met people that I can really say I do love and do cherish as my family.
That's very good, Johannes. Really love and appreciate that. And I also do think, the Bible speaks about loving one another. The Bible says, by this you will know that they are my disciples by the love they have for one another. And I just want to say about this, and this is something that I see in your life a lot, is the whole idea of treating people well that treated you badly, and forgiving people that has treated you badly. Can you quickly speak about forgiveness? Okay, let's go here. Let's skip a bit till the end. your last encounter with your father, um, or let's say your last encounter with your parents, because you met up with your mother again, and you had this last encounter with your parents where you had to make right and forgive. Can you quickly maybe speak about that?
Yeah, it was in 2015 when I saw my mother again. When she didn't have a place to stay, so I allowed her to come stay with me, and she couldn't pay rent and everything. Of course, she's still my mother. I allowed her to come stay with me. When I came from work that day, she told me she wants to speak to me, and I did speak to her. And as she was, and I knew she said goodbye because I knew she knew it was her time to go home, to pass on, pass away, as I can say this. We sat, and she said, "You know what? I wasn't a mother to you. I didn't treat you well. I stole from you. I did all these bad things to you. Will you forgive me?" And to me, it was the hardest pill to swallow, to forgive someone that actually hurt me. But I forgave her. Never knew what I did. I released her to go home, to go where she has to go. And and that's when I decided, you know what, let me forgive her. And I made the decision of giving her. And I forgave my father as well. And standing in front of my father with a loaded, with a ready to go shoot him on a Friday night. Um, Three bullets, one for him, one for his wife, and one for myself. And your friend takes your bullets away, so you have a blank gun. So you just go in there, and you saw. When I got there, I saw an old, ill man standing in front of me, and he asked my forgiveness, and I did forgive him. I said, you know what, I forgive you. But my forgiveness didn't come from forgiving them. It came from my restoration came when I started forgiving myself. And I think that's the most important thing. You have to start with yourself. Forgive yourself. Never find a problem with someone else. Find a problem here and start working on that. And I had to forgive myself for carrying that hatred and burden that for all these years.
Um, Final thought. I've also had the opportunity to meet Arnel now a few times. You are not only a successful writer, you are married to a beautiful wife, and I think it's difficult for somebody who comes out of that to really get, close to somebody like that again. But like I said, I met her a few times, and I can truly say she's your right hand, and I don't think you mind me saying it because I've seen like I've seen like how she's busy with a lot of things. Can you just like at the end finally just quickly tell about the role she plays in your life, and how you how you eventually ended up here?
Well, she plays a very big role in my life because through her prayer, I can sit here. Through her encouragement, I can sit here. So she is my right hand. I don't make a decision without speaking to her, and we make a decision together. When I first met her, it was in 2021 in August. She didn't thought I was the most joyful person on this ground because I wasn't. I had a lot of pain. I had a broken back. I had a leg that was broken. So I was in pain constantly. Emotionally, I was in pain. Mentally, I was in pain. Physically, I was in pain constantly. And so she just prayed for me, and she just encouraged me the whole time. So we got married. We got engaged on the same year in 2021, 2nd of October. We got engaged, and my restoration before I those who go through uh, certain how can I say certain traumas don't walk into a relationship. First find healing and then go to a relationship. And that's what I had to do. Before I can go into a relationship, I had to find my healing. I had to make a decision of saying, you know what, I can't go into this relationship because I will hurt the person that I love. And so I went through it, and while we were married, I went through another year or so to just to find that purpose that I have in this world, and that's when I wrote the book, Struggling with Stains.
Johannes, thank you so much for joining us today. This was such an amazing story, and thank you for the influence that you have in my life, in so many lives. We really appreciate you, and I do believe many people will benefit from this, but not just from this, from your book. So go check out Johannes's book. I know it will be a great encouragement and a great story for you. Johannes, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you.
Thank you, Albert, for the opportunity.
We'll talk again soon.